Hello, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, and welcome to your annual prediction 2026 reading. I'm very happy and excited to be back. Um, just feeling as though this is happening. I'm kind of able to make videos and upload them and work with people, and really I haven't been able to do that since I became very unwell in April 2021. So really happy to be back on YouTube, all this kind of stuff. And I am doing, so I work hourly and I work annually, just to do some housekeeping. I work hourly and annually. Annually is much better and my preference. And I'm actually doing half price on annual for people that want to do it for 2026. With the code, what code are we going to do? We're going to do Phoenix 50 because I really feel like this year is about this Phoenix, but it's actually very serene on the other side. It's like the Phoenix coming out into really to flying. And I know all of this kind of stuff's been hashed out before, but I'm already there, I'm already there. And before I come on to do readings here or personal readings, I always have a kind of download, so to speak, kind of like tune in for the maybe 10 minutes, kind of like an hour. It's quite a long time, but just before the session, I get all these insights. And there's one that I just feel really that's important to share. And I'm speaking about people that I've worked with and do work with. And the value that comes that I think is completely unique here that it would be unfair for me not to share with you. And so the annual that I do now has 24/7 WhatsApp. So you can WhatsApp me 24/7 about anything, which is much more preferable to me. The way I like to do it is just be there how I am with everybody. And you get that 24/7 support. But what's more valuable than that is the fact that I don't think there's anyone that is as powerful as I am across multiple dimensions. And I mean, that's not even the right way to frame it. I would call it the whole block because I'm a believer and kind of operating in what we call block world now, which is that everything is done and everything is finished, kind of like a movie, the whole universe. But that includes multiple dimensions. If you go and take it to the quantum. So there's no dimension that I haven't been to. There's not, that's the wrong way to frame it. There's no place in the block I cannot go. And sometimes people get stuck in psychic spaces that is what we could call anything that repeats that we don't like. We get stuck in thinking that creates an experience that really isn't working. When that happens in the everyday, there's a lot of different options for where you can go. Therapists, friends, hairdressers, masseuses, like anybody, right? But when it comes to those other spaces, when you're in other dimensions and you're having experiences there and you need support, that's where I come into no one else can do that. And so even just when you have me on your team, you have me on your, let's call it on your psychic team, I've had people that have had really troubling experiences, and you have to trust that who I am, you have to know who I am first. And, that's kind of why I'm telling you. But just being here, you're in that, you have that, I'll call it protection, but it's not even protection. It's like, I'm kind of like a bodyguard, but let's call it security. That's what you get, is security. So when anyone ever goes into a space and they're afraid in a psychic space, I'm kind of telling them that if you're connected with me, consciously, properly, nothing can touch you genuinely, because I would, and it sounds kind of insane, and it's not something that I usually talk about, but nobody can touch you. And you don't have to, you can do that in lots of different ways. You can connect with me in lots of different ways in those spaces. Like, it's not necessary. But once you are, working with me, or, you want, I think its best use is throughout every single space and, everything. But I'm just, people get stuck into thought zones. So I'll call them thought zones, which can be brought on by like physical experiences or things that are going on or lack of sleep or anything. And you can end up, if you are able to, go all over the place, you can get stuck in in these kind of places where you're attracting a lot of dodgy stuff, shall we say, right? And you might need some sort of support. And it's because I've been there, and I've been there alone. I did it myself. I did it myself. I came under a huge amount of, let's call it, attack, but it's when you're the light and you light up the room as you do, there are responses across every single aspect of a dimension or anywhere you could ever go. That the shadow exists everywhere. And if you've basically, what I'm trying to say is, there's a role for me in the world, for you, for people. Maybe it's you, maybe it's not. Maybe this is boring. But I just knew, I got the download, I had to tell this story to you. That's my job. My job is to be a psychic bodyguard. And actually, do you know what? That is what I'm going to call myself. I'm a psychic bodyguard. That anything comes for you in any space, you're like so done. When people are afraid of things and they come to me and they'd be like, oh, they want to book a session, they're on an annual and they want to book a session, like something's going on with this thing and la la la. And I'm like, you do know that like nothing can touch you, right? Like you do know that like nothing. And I say that with confidence because there's nothing. I know it's true, more in that space than any other space. But that space like is very, very important, if you're living a sort of soulful, love-fueled life, So anyway, I just wanted to let people know that is what I'm doing, and that's what we're doing here. And like I said, so I'm releasing some annual on a half price annual, which is very, very good value. Sorry, this is my daughter's cup. My first daughter, Persephone, backwards. Very, very good value. So the link is in the description. So if you want support from someone that can go anywhere, there's nowhere you can go where I can't go. But you do have to be open. You have to allow for the messaging to be an authority. But you do, because that's why you're here. I mean, the messages that come through here, and even when I'm more of a person to you, you get to have a personal relationship with me. It's still important to understand that nothing I ever share is my opinion. And I don't have an opinion of myself, and I don't have an opinion of you, because I'm non-dual. I'm non-dual awake. I am very non-dual. I am non-dual. There's no me to have an opinion on anything. There's no point. I mean, I do have opinions, but they don't mean anything. So I would never think that my opinion would be of any value to anybody, right? Apart from just, frivolous fun. But when I give advice, it comes from the block, everything that exists. And this is what this is about. The cards are just fun ways to translate and to ground us in the imagery and stuff. We don't need them. And that's another thing that could be challenging. Just to take the information, to be able to translate it or take it from a human, but knowing that, it's not trance channeling, but it's as useful. It's just through a human form. Anyway, it's a big shuffle. Oh, what's going on upside down? We're going to see what's going on for 2026. Yeah, so the code is, whilst I've finished shuffling, the code is Phoenix 50. Phoenix 50, PHOENIX 50. Sometimes the Phoenix feels a bit kind of like hot. You want to think of it like it's forging the sword of truth, right? The ace of swords. It feels it's like clarity. It's like you're out and you're in the clear, in the flight. Don't be afraid of don't be afraid of scary things. Don't be afraid of uh, anything bad happening in life or anything like that, because you can. That heat, that pressure. That's where the diamond comes. I'm drawn to this like diamond chandelier in this backdrop of a room, which I wish were mine apart from the vases, because I don't know. But anyway, yeah, don't be afraid of the fire and the furnace and the pressure that makes the diamond. Like, really, really don't. Like, just embrace it. Go, yeah, let's go in. When people try to come for you, it's because you're powerful. It's only because you're powerful. Okay. You ready to go? It's a 1, it's a 2, it's a 3, it's a 2, it's a 3, it's a 1. That's the cut. And the bottom of the deck is the Knight of Pentacles. Things coming in, gifts coming in, and gifts giving. So literally kind of what I was saying about investing and receiving, giving and receiving, connecting with cash, with value, with value. What value are you getting? What are you investing in? But it's kind of saying go big. I think the Knight's quite a big energy. His kind of traditional meaning is, yeah, I got something to give you, So be generous in your investments. Be careful and generous. So you can't be generous if you're not being careful. So careful doesn't mean, so it's saying be careful and generous. So when you're discerning, then you can give more. So be very discerning about where you're giving it, but don't be afraid of the amount. Be cautious of where it's going. So when there's something that's going to be really helpful to you, invest in it. Something that comes to my mind is like a bed or a mattress or something like that. Things that you can spend a bit of money on, but it makes a big difference to your life. But you might not necessarily be aware of how much difference that's going to make. It's kind of like, do that. And honestly, I'm not trying to like push my own thing, though I am. I want to find my people, but it's like what I do. Like, invest in the thing that is going to help you, that's going to support you, that's going to make your life better every day. Like, invest in that stuff. The long-term stuff that's going to help you out. That's what that's about. It feels big. It feels like big investments, but it comes back. It's balanced. It also is representing things coming in. So get ready for people to invest in you, things to, people to invest in you in a very material, earthly, physical way. This is what this is about. It's about kind of sharing of resources comes to my mind, but it's not really sharing. It's investment. And it's conscious investment in the things that are actually going to make your life better. Very, very important. Right. Okay. Maybe what are we going to do? We're going to do 12 o'clock. We're going to do 3 in the middle, and then we're going to do let's see. Let's just see what comes. Maybe it's a new one. Okay. Okay, going around the circle. 10. 10 in a circle, 1 in the middle. Let's call it the 11 clock. This on the bottom of the deck. Excuse me. Keep it all moist for you. Sorry, I'm having a good time today. Victory is the central card. I mean, I don't know what to do because I'm high on this vibe. I'm high. I got these cards out. I'm chatting to you, and I'm like, wow, this is high. This is abundant. This is really abundant. This is like, whoa. and there's an ease to it. You know, it's like it's done. There's a doneness to it. And again, I want to talk to you about this idea. So I want to talk to you about this idea of the block universe, which is a kind of quantum theory. Not that I'm a big studier, but I have senses and I kind of find them. I kind of know what they are. We don't need to fully understand them, though. I don't think the block universe is that difficult. Basically says that everything is done. Everything's already done. You don't need to worry about cause and effect, really. But more, it's that if you think of everything that exists, that you can call it the universe, a multiverse, anything, every single dimension, every single thing, any planet you could go to, any thought, including consciousness, everything that exists is a block. It's finite. It's done, and it's done like a movie. It's in the can, right? And they call it a world line. You are a world line. Essentially, you are a perspective on reality. That's it. That's all you are. That's all consciousness is awareness in the block. So what's relaxing about that is you literally can't get it wrong. But what happens is when we're not present, as in I'm just in this moment here, this is where the spirituality comes from, of like just presence in the moment. Like I'm literally here and now, and that's it. And nothing, there's no past or future to worry about, right? To project into, which all exists in the moment, but we don't realize. When we kind of take ourselves out of the reality that we are just pure awareness now in this now, we lose touch with reality. We lose touch with our world line. You are just a perspective. So how we feel, that's why how we feel is more important than what is happening. And we make this kind of, I started in this twin flame space because that was a very powerful trigger for circumstances that are going to make me happy, right? This circumstance is going to make me happy 100%. And it's not that is incorrect. It's just, if it is not happening now, should I focus upon it, right? And so it's empowering in that you have control over how you feel in what is happening, and that creates your experience, not what is happening. And also what is happening is set. Let it go. Timing is set. Your experience of time is not set. So for example, you book a holiday, a vacation for August 2026, and say you do it today, you're going to go on that vacation in 2026, or do anything, so that vacation exists from January to August 2026 for you. But the fact is, you were always going to go on that vacation in August 2026. How your experience can change is you could not book that vacation until 3 days before. So that vacation doesn't exist until 3 days before in August 2026, or you have the awareness of it now. So our experience of time and our awareness across time can change, and that can completely change your experience of your reality. Because if you really, really want to go on that vacation, you could be in lack for 8 months, waiting for that vacation to happen and having a horrible time, or you can be excited for 8 months knowing that vacation is happening. So what is happening is set. Your experience of what is happening is not. And that's the difference. That's what I'm here. That's my job, my gift to you, myself for you. That's what that is, right? And that's what you're receiving now. And if you're here, you're like part of the 0.00001% right now, though it should probably be a bit bigger. Let's be honest. Share, get everyone here. Well, get the people here that are meant to be here, and hope that it's more. Yeah, send it to people. Send this to someone that needs it. Right. So victory is inevitable. And it was I won't tell him his name, but another sort of teacher ages ago who I heard, it must be 10 years ago. And he said something like, had this little ditty, which was, if basically, because I'm the paraphrase queen, basically it was, if your success was inevitable, how would you act? So if you wanted something and you just knew it was going to happen, how would you act? That happened for me with my children. You know, it was like, you don't know if you're going to have children, or you don't know. There's so many things that we don't know about. I don't know if this is going to happen or that is going to happen, things, desires that we have. But it's this hindsight clarity. You want to have that in the moment, you know, and that is what I can actually give you, you know. And yeah, I won't show off about how good it is, but it is pretty good. Right, we got two, so we haven't got 12 o'clock. We've got a 2 at the top. We've got 2 for 1 cards. We've got 2 of Swords and 8 of Wands. Now, this feels like opposite. How does this all manifest? This is all about, how does victory manifest this year? How does it go? So, and also just now, because everything's now, right? But you know, we're bringing it all to us when we before. So this 2 of Swords is wait till you've got more information, but also for me really kind of talks about contradictions, that there's, you know, 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. It's kind of like a stagnation in your thinking, in thought, this, but it does traditionally mean kind of like wait, so you can't really see. But I would say, what I love about the swords is the swords are all thought. The only thing you have control of is your thought. That's it. That's the only thing you have control of. So when the swords are saying something, I'm kind of like, well, give a shit, because the swords are completely controllable. You just get rid of it, you know. So everything else I feel is, I mean, it all is really, because it's all happening here. But if it's kind of saying you're thinking one thing and another thing, and you can't, if you saying you can't see through to move forward, the solution is not to release that in any way, just to be like, okay, right now I can't see because I am thinking this, you know, kind of thing. And then this is kind of movement, yes, communication, go, you know, Cupid's arrow, clear, fast, speed, you know, fire, spirit, you know, all that kind of stuff. And I think why they're manifesting is the same message, is that it's kind of saying this supersedes this. You know, it's about taking action. Take the action, do the thing, and be effing brave about it. Be really effing brave. Computer's talking to me. Be really brave about it, you know, just like take that action, be brave. Don't let indecision get in the way. That's why they're together. It's like, okay, it's the same thing. That happens at the same time. Action does not need you to be clear and sure and knowing all the time. You know, it's like when you don't know, just know that you don't know, but understand that the power of the spirit is so much more knowing. And right now, like, that's not always the case, but it's basically saying take the action, do the thing, but without any, because I think this is to do with like outcome attachment. And if you know that it's block world, give a shit. You can ask for anything you want. You know, like, just really annoying. I said an S word, and I didn't want to keep it all out. But anyway, maybe I'll try and fix it. Oh, I got thrown then. Come back in the room. You, in this situation, you don't need clarity. You know, it's like the spirit knows, because this energy is block energy. It's just, doesn't matter what you do. The outcome is already done. So what do you do if the outcome's already done? If you want something and the outcome is already done, there's nothing to do but, yes, focus on it. Like, know that it's there. Embrace it. Don't go, oh, well, I'm just going to forget about it. But sometimes that does work. Take action where you need to take action. Know that it's done. Get on with your life. The action will come to you. It will just come to you, and you'll have to do it. potentially intuitively, but that's kind of how I come in, why I'm here. Take the action that, is in this space, in the intuitive space, so to speak, the spirit, the wants, the creative space, we just call it creative rather than reactive, right? And then next card we've got is Temperance. This is about balance, flow, fluidity. This is speaking of masculine and feminine forces, of just that, it's all kind of one and flow and continuum, and it's just moving, and it's very light, it's very above everything. So it's basically saying, I feel that if you can take action in that creative space, then you'll notice that in that dimension, as we could call it, it's just flow and peace and temperance. Everything's tempered, everything's flowing, everything's gentle, it's like that idea of when you're in an airplane and everything just seems serene and beautiful from that perspective. And also even further, if astronauts, when they're looking at the Earth and this distance creates this like insane serenity where you could be going at high speeds and lots of, energy is moving, but there's this serene quality to it. That's that. And the Page of Cups, again, is speaking to this generosity, but it's just easy generosity of the heart to your fellow humans, and to have people around you that are just kind of like, hey, how are you? I mean, let's call it one world human community. And I really think this is coming, like it just is. The internet opened this up, opens up this globalness, and there is a bit of a reaction, and some lines were drawn and some tribes and all this kind of stuff, because all these little cliques formed thought mostly because of social media and algorithms, and how people are just kind of only watching things or listening to things that are in the same vein, and then that becomes their reality. So that kind of happened. But what's generally happening is connection, that we're all connected, we can all share, and it's going to take some time, but the reality is that we are oneness is much more accessible now than it ever has been. And again, this idea of the airplane, 200-300 years ago, you couldn't travel further than a horse could take you if you had a horse, and in any way. So think about how connected we are now and how available we are to each other. And when we focus on our humanity, the gentleness of, here's a loaf of bread, to take it into this Jesus kind of biblical thing, or a lot of religions where it's just like, you share what you have with your fellow man, that's this energy of this Page of Cups. And this is what brings that, and it brings us wealth. I mean, the King of Pentacles is also speaking to, this kind of, there is divide and division of kind of like billionaires and all this kind of stuff. But this is a tricky thing to talk about, but it's really speaking to the idea that hierarchy or leadership is important. And this idea that for people to have a lot of money is a problem and unfair. Yes, but who cares? Like the block resources are, the best things in life are free. The second best things are very expensive. The things that are important have nothing to do with money. There are plenty of billionaires that are incredibly unhappy. So if we're measuring life in money, then we have a problem with the disparity that exists. And I completely understand and empathize and experience that on a daily basis, the unfairness of it all. But that's not actually what's important. That is relevant, but we have to make sure that the people that hold the resources that we're investing in are the sorts of people that have true capacity for leadership, and leadership in a quiet way. And I'm again drawn to this idea of when I'm on your team, you want some people on your team. So say there's a monarch, not that I'm the queen, but to call myself the queen in this analogy, but it's the point is that somebody is taking care of you, right? That's what I mean. That leadership should be about responsibility. When there's huge resources and leadership without genuine responsibility and care that comes from love, then and connection and openness, then things become corrupt, cronyism, where people are just doing deals with their friends, and it's just that's unfair. Resources being in different places at different times, that's reality. That's life. That's, you're a bird and the weather changes and there's no access to food. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's not human. That's not human, as in an issue of human society. That's life. But this is really speaking to giving and actively aware and giving resources to people, systems, but it does feel like people that are responsible and can hold that energy. If you think of it as energy, they're just holding that energy and keeping that energy pure. So it's really speaking about finance, money, and energy, and that actually it's all being one thing and keeping it pure, clean, that it's there to do its job. It's not there as some sort of for control, as some sort of game. It's there as pure resource so that things can be invested in and it can be moved the way it needs to be moved. I was just doing a lot of research about my medical condition because I'm doing much better. I'm taking a medication. I'm looking at medications. I'm playing with AI and all this kind of stuff. And my intuition, and it's about flow. It's not about amounts. It's about access. That's the most important piece. It's okay if sometimes all the resources seem to be in this place, but it has to be fluid. It has to be able to move. That's the most important thing, that it's movable, that it's not held on to, that world line keeps moving, right? And I know you can read between the lines there. 6 o'clock down here, divine lovers. This is why we're here. This is where we started. So but it's love and connection and but this is all for real. It's not in some separate space. It's okay, it's pretty high. It is pretty high psychic vibe. It is the manifested Jesus. If you know me, you'll know who Murm is, but it's whatever the sound is of the person. That's Jesus's not that I'm going to get into it. It's not really important, but the masculine, feminine gods, right? And in the Christian kind of stories, that's why I call it the Jesus story. In the Jesus stories, if you can understand it, but as I have been told, in my experience, in my world line, it's a masculine, feminine story that went awry. And it's balance. There's a masculine side and a feminine side, but really this is speaking of flow, right? Flow, like electricity, like a battery. It's a positive and a negative, and that flow, that's what it's creating. It's not positive is better than negative. It's together, it flows. And this is all done. There's something very active behind the scenes, and I think this came out in the last video. Something is going to happen that changes the way humanity thinks about itself. I don't know whether it might be some sort of disclosure for people that are into that, but it's something very big like that impacts everybody. And I think why I've been talking about having me on your side and across dimensions and all this kind of stuff is about fear, and how fear can really get you into bad situations. When you allow fear to be the creative force, wherever you're focusing, whichever dimension you're in or wherever you're doing. And it can be scarier in other dimensions because other people don't know about it. So it's more uncertain. Uncertainty is always difficult for us. And so we can fear things in that we project, things into uncertainty. We want to be careful about fear driving thought, because it will just create, fear is really the only problem that we have, really, truly. So It's basically saying, do not fear. There is nothing to fear. So for whatever shift changes, if fear takes over, that's what causes all the problems. And everything global that's kind of happened over the past 5 or 6 years, and really ever, it's only the fear that causes the problem, not the actual things. And that is true of, I would say, 99% of things that cause us that's enduring pain is fear of something rather than the actual thing. And that doesn't mean that bad things don't happen and they're awful and awful things don't happen in the world, because they do, and that's really sad and difficult and terrifying, terrifying. But we cannot control those things. You cannot control really any outcomes. You are free, So this is what this is about. It's about just allowing life to take its natural form. But there is going to be a massive shift into love. And this is real. This isn't kind of in just an energetic, spiritual woo-woo space. This is something's happening that's going to change the way humanity acts. And I'm just trying to tune into whether there's a fear response first and then it kind of balances out in the same way that the oneness is happening. There's a fear response. It can seem like conflict is increased. And I think there is a little bit of a chance that that could happen, but it's only really 20% because I think we've got to allow our leadership to not be political, because that system is kind of broken. We've got to allow our leadership to become more quote unquote spiritual, but and I think it's more like, the global spiritual figures. Like, I mean, we have the Pope, we have the Dalai Lama, but you want to govern yourself. We want to govern ourselves by people that have resources materially and spiritually. And that's all you need to know. That's all you need to know. Right. Again, this is about discernment. So there is a little, this is kind of speaking a little bit about the fear. Really, what we fear is flow. We fear this sometimes. We fear the holiness. We fear, and I used to speak about this a lot in the Bible. And I remember when I was a child, when I heard, the nativity story, and then every time the angels appeared, they said, "Don't be afraid," which makes me believe in angels. Because if you were telling some prissy romantic story about angels, why would they say, "Don't be afraid," right? If they weren't scary, right? If there wasn't something scary about them appearing and something strange about them appearing, right? This is a little bit of fear manifesting. When we want to hold on to things, we're fearing. That doesn't mean we should not hold on to things, because that isn't the cure of fear. Isn't do it. It's not really feel the fear and do it anyway. It's just kind of know that the fear is there and find things that you want to invest in. So this is life. This is kind of speaking more to stories, the world. What do you want to invest in? Which story of life and humanity do you want to invest in? And don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to invest in the story that feels best to you. And don't be afraid to go into that uncertainty. Oh, so fun. Queen of Swords is back. She's saying no, no to some stuff. There's a part of you and all of us, I think, that are sensitive to reality, in many, many different spaces and places, and that are very open, the openness, the holding of love and reality. We can get afraid of this, of like, everything's fine and I'm coming on my victory lap and I'm done. And it's visibility, it's being seen, right? And there's an invitation here for you to step up into your visibility and you being seen. And there's not really much more to say about that. But it's that Queen of Swords is kind of judging the one that is Here I am on my white horse, and everything is amazing, and I am amazing, kind of thing. And it's kind of judging it, saying, well, who are they? It's not even that bad. It's in you. Who am I to? It's in us, all of us, in this space, in this reality, right? In reality, who am I to be the winner? And not just be the winner, because it's like, well, I'll be the winner, but I don't want everybody to see me win, because then they might try and tear me down or tell something. Do you know what I mean? So it's kind of saying, just be aware that there's a part of you that judges your own success, and don't bother. It's not even like don't bother. That was me coming in. It was more like because you don't want to change it. So it's the queen judging this. She's like, oh, who is this? But there's also a kind of supportive thing from the queen as well. It's a little bit difficult to translate, because it's kind of saying, if you can change your mind, because it's the swords, be your own cheerleader. I mean, that's kind of what I was saying I am. But also be your own cheerleader. Be your own kind of like, yeah, I want to see me on that horse. And it's challenging to be seen, because when you are the light, and the history of how it has been, with, if you think about the Jesus stories, you get seen and then you get taken down. That's why it's scary. But it's saying, no, you see and you win, you stay. But only if you choose it. Only if you choose the world where the ones that win and have all the money and all the resources and everything that exists that's of value, that you think is of value and everybody thinks is of value, that they are the holy ones, so to speak, right? It seems impossible in a way. It seems like, well, how can that happen? But it is the only way that humanity survives, but not like it's going to, but it's because it has done. But that's how humanity embraces itself. It's the only way life as we understand it and know it can be and exist, and really the only way. And let me just listen to this now. This is the only way you can thrive, is in this world. So if you choose it, it becomes your world, because your world line is the world. So, and also when you choose it, it is created, and then other people can meet you in it. So it's a world where all the resources are in the hands of those that are completely attuned with you, not with anything outside of you. I mean, with you, with your worldview, with who you are, right? I know you're getting this. Then Ace of Swords, that's that clarity coming, right? So interesting, because you start with the 2 and we've gone full circle into the 1. Again, it's victory, 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 but you have to move some resources around, right? And understand what resources are. Your thought, all of your resources, but it's the actual, stuff of life. And don't be afraid to move it around. Really move it around. Put it where it needs to go. For some people, this is going to be like, you're going to be changing whatever you're investing in, whatever. So your time, if you're investing your time in a job or a work or an environment or a person, that could shift, not in a kind of cutting off way, in a just, oh, this isn't working anymore. But it might feel like you need to kind of uproot it. Oh, I'm going to put it over here instead. So it might feel like you're moving from one place to another. It could just be down a street, though. It doesn't. These aren't big shifts physically, but they are when it comes to your world line, if that makes sense. So it's like, if you understand this idea that you have a world line, if you're slightly off, there's going to be loads of resistance, but you just kind of go in, and then, oh wow, this is just exactly where I'm supposed to be. So it can take a lot of courage to make those even little shifts, but they make the biggest difference. Okay, so just be really sensitive to that. You don't need to go far to do a big thing, though. For some people, that might be the path of least resistance. It's just a little trajectory shift that gets you into that trajectory exactly where you're supposed to be. One more, we're done. Oh, the Tower again. Oh, so yeah, it's when I see this, I can't pretend. It's not a nice energy, but it is an all change. It's speaking to what I just said. But this is what, again, it's the fear. If we fear we're going to lose everything, loss, then we can't make good decisions. And everything is kind of gone to nothing, right? And it happens at the same time. It's basically saying that this happens because everything is gone. And, this has been happening for a while. I've been observing it. I mean, collectively in the world, for a very long time, but really the last few years, if you're not seeing that everything is an illusion, and I mean the systems, the structures, everything is kind of like not what it pretends to be. If you're not seeing that, then it's going to feel horrendous to have the rug pulled from out of under you. But what it's saying is reality, we can not want to see reality, and that makes it scary because we're not actually you're not in your world line. And I realize that that's what this is all about. I'm all about you being in your world line. When you're in your world line, whoa, and it can go anywhere. It can go all over the place. A little bee or something just came to say hello, wasp, which is a bit strange for this time of year. When you're in your world line, you feel amazing because you're on track, and it can be anywhere in anything with anyone. And to be slightly off that can be such a different experience. So this is really about everybody getting completely in line with who they really are in reality. And if you're attached to reality, it's going to see attached to a story that isn't reality. That's what it's going to feel like. But this speaks to you got to let everything go, everything. And it's way, way less scary than it seems, because on the other side of that is freedom. This is why it's about the phoenix. It's like you go through this kind of lightning, but then above the storm, you're going above the storm. What is it? Oh, it's a fly. Is it? Yeah. You got to fly above it's about getting out of the storm, but you have to go through the storm. It's like, again, it's like turbulence. You're going to really, really love what happens on the other side, and the faster you can go through it, the better. Like, don't hold on, go through really, really fast. And there's a collective and individual message there for you, but it's all about victory. But to simplify and to put it in kind of quote unquote spiritual, in a more kind of like Eastern philosophy perspective, it's basically, have no attachment. This is only a problem if you're holding on to this position, this space, this thing, and then it's kind of basically trying to get you out of it. If you hold on to anything that isn't real, and that's the discernment that's important. Reality, and positioning yourself in reality, that's the most important thing. If you are in your reality where you are supposed to be in reality, nothing can ever go wrong for you. Everything will happen. And honestly, you were born to have the most incredible feeling life, and none of the past difficulties or challenges are proof in any way that this isn't who you are. And I think that's happening for this year. There's nothing you can do about it. Okay. And we're going to build a community, definitely going to build a community here around that. And there are resources, lots of resources, no scarcity. But we do have to allow the resources to be put in the hands of those that know what to do with them energetically, spiritually. It's really, really important, really important. And that's you as well. It's that goes both ways. It comes from you and comes to you. Very, very important. Those resources are pouring into those that are in alignment in your world line. Your world line, that's where all the resources are. If that's your job, you don't have to have them if it's not your world line, right? But when we're all in our reality, then there is no lack. That's basically what I'm trying to say. There is no lack. It doesn't matter where the amounts are. It matters that there's no lack for anybody. Okay? No lack for anybody. 2026. Who's in? I'm in. Okay. Love you. If you want to get Phoenix 50 is the code, link here. If you want to half price my annual, WhatsApp all the time. Wish I'd done WhatsApp earlier. So much better. Just so awesome. And I'm always holding myself back from like being more intimate actually, and just being more. So anyway, if you want WhatsApp access to me 24/7, let's go. Let's go. It makes me kind of got excited about that. Anyway, all right then. Love you lots. Have an incredible 2026. Another video is going to come soon, no doubt. And I want to do some lives, and we'll have some fun together. See you soon. Bye. Also, share. Let's get it to the people that need it. I'm hoping we're going to be increasing. Oh, let's stop it.